Hello, this is Richard Pears of Finextra TV, and I'm joined again by Nicole Anderson from Redsand Ventures. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Richard. How are you?
I'm very well. Delighted to see you again. We had a great time last week at SustainableFinance.Live, and you helped weave your magic as usual. I wanted to get you back on just to give us a few kind of after the event thoughts, if you like. And really, I guess the first question is, why did you get involved, and did it end up being anything like you imagined?
Well, start with the latter half of that question. It wasn't really, but in a very, very good way. I had no real expectation because this points to the first part of your question, which is the reason I was attracted to this particular project and getting involved was its novelty in terms of its engagement level. And dare I say it, we both share a huge passion, and our circles are growing, but they still small. And a platform like Sustainable Finance.Live felt to me just the right balance between a group of people that had a common challenge, and they came from very, very different parts of the world of finance, and wanting to green finance. And it was a flexible, neutral platform to do that. So I took up the challenge, spurred on by a lot of encouragement from yourself and the team in the best possible way, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Fantastic. Well, we appreciate that, and thank you for being, leaping into the unknown like that. I mean, when you think about it, obviously Keith from Core was our representative of the plucky protagonist out there trying to save the world, trying to get access to sustainable finance. What do you think that people like yourself and sustainability finance experts and venture experts can bring to organizations like his?
Yeah, it's, I think someone like Keith, any real world project that is proving out a new way of transition, a new way in which this world could be in a better position, deserves attention and a platform. And really, I think corners of the capital markets, whether they be public or private, need to listen to these voices. They need to understand intimately the challenges from the grassroots upwards. It's all very well us hiding behind our term sheets, our metrics, our scorecards, our theses, and our financial projections and portfolio construction methodologies of old. But when you really understand what these businesses are trying to do and trying to achieve, it strikes a different chord. And I think striking that different chord across the capital ecosystem and community, that's incredibly important. I think one of the key things that came out over the 2 days was how the financial services industry is having to enable itself to understand these new market players, right? And there is a technical element to understanding businesses in a way they perhaps hadn't had to do before. And to really truly understand the impact, you have to understand these businesses. And this platform provided an example, or shone the light in how that could be done and why that needs to be done.
Yeah, that's very true. And I wanted to ask you, you touched on it there to a certain extent, but what are the big themes that you think, really need to be addressed in this sustainable finance type world? I mean, I looked at that risk management conversation that we had, but what did you think was a big theme that, maybe you came in with it?
Well, I probably am a little bit biased, but for me, I think there's a curvy or a straight line always to capital flows, right? And how that capital is unlocked, how it is assigned, how it is monitored, how it's made to do what it's supposed to do, was a very general way of describing what I kept on hearing time and time again. And of course, underpinning all of that is the way in which businesses have to be structured. We heard a lot about, well, what are the kind of key drivers for change? Data, of course, but what was top of the pile was culture, which talks to very much the motivations, the incentives, to look at businesses' investability in a different way for the long term, not just from a financial performance perspective. And if these triggers are not addressed, then capital will not flow. And this is all about reinvigorating right here and now, our world for the better, but not ignoring the fact that we've got a much bigger challenge to solve as a global community around finance, and that is making it far more sustainable than it has been of the past.
Yeah, I think that's true. Leave us with one thought. What was your kind of key takeaway? Get a positive thing that we can all think, hang on, there's a path to some goodness here.
Well, I think the forum, the mechanism, the how of Sustainable Finance Live was, for me, the big takeaway. Right now, people are really struggling to translate theory into practice. Everyone is learning. I mean, we are at this point in time trying to solve a massive global systemic issue across every single corner of aspect of the financial value chain, and it isn't consecutive, right? We can't just wait for policy and taxonomy unification before we start allocating capital. We can't wait for private markets to take a lead before public markets take a lead. We can't ignore certain really well-deserving projects that are representing new markets and ignore the incumbent transformative work that needs to be done in existing markets. So everyone is learning. And I think what this platform offers is an ability for people from all walks of the sustainable finance world to come together with unshackled, with no particular political agendas, no particular need to worry about feeling stupid or sounding stupid, and all of us coming together to work on a very practical solution and an outcome-based solution. And so what we tried very hard to achieve for everyone is infusing input, listening to the questions, and co-designing through that process. And what I certainly saw was an output, which was a very practical, collaborative, essentially design for what impact could, in our particular forum, what impact investing could feel like and look like as a schema. And I think that is a framework for action. And I think people are desperate for that right now.
Well, thanks for that. I think that's what we're trying to achieve. We know we've got a lot more to do, but it's people like you working passionately day in, day out on those outcomes that make a difference. So thanks again for now. I'll say, we'll definitely meet again across this digital divide. I hope we'll get to the physical conversations shortly as well, and a cup of coffee somewhere. But anyway, in the meantime, Nicole, thanks very much.
Thank you.